I'm Judi Ketteler, the author of Sew Retro, a stylish history of the sewing revolution, plus 25 vintage-inspired projects for the modern girl. Sew Retro is a fun combination of sewing history and retro-inspired sewing projects. It's grounded in real research, but the narrative is fun and readable, and the projects all have modern appeal and are accessible for beginning sewers. I really wrote Sew Retro because it was a clever way for me to combine my love of sewing and all things vintage with my interest in women's history. I wanted to find out more what sewing has meant to the many different generations of women. We think that sewing has just recently been rediscovered because it's so popular right now, but in reality it's ebbed and flowed and been rejected and embraced many times over in the last 150 years. I designed the 25 projects in Sew Retro to celebrate the different time periods, beginning with the mid-19th century and the invention of the modern sewing machine, and tracing it all the way up until today. I definitely have my favorite projects, like the handkerchief bag. I started collecting vintage handkerchiefs at flea markets a few years back. They're so dainty but so sturdy, just really great little pieces of vintage charm. And appliquing one onto a bag is a great way to incorporate a little piece of history into something really functional. The home decor stuff is really fun too, like the mod gathered pillow for the 1950s chapter and the cafe curtains for the 1930s chapter. A real favorite of mine is the groovy patchwork throw from the 1960s chapter. I wanted to just throw a bunch of mod prints together and watch the cool pattern emerge. Simple patchwork projects like this are really easy to make, and they bring great vintage charm and a really lovely handmade sound feel to your space. Then the wearable pieces, like the 1920s smart felt hat or the elegant shawl from the 19th century, or even the Saturday afternoon skirt from the New Domesticity chapter, they feel really modern, but they still have a great nod to retro style. And of course there are aprons, because I couldn't do a retro sewing book without them. There's a really cute flapper apron for the 1920s chapter, and an adorable hostess apron for the 1950s chapter. I think readers will really enjoy flipping through Sew Retro because there's a lot of great ephemera. I collected a lot of old vintage ads, magazine spreads, patterns, books, all kinds of other things that are really fun to look at. The Q&As with designers like Amy Butler and Beth White offer really great inspiration. Plus there are bio sketches of women throughout time. Some of them readers have probably heard of, like Shoshana Berger, but others readers probably have never heard of, like Ellen Curtis DeMorest and Mary Brooks Picken. But these women are so interesting to read about because they changed the face of sewing in all kinds of ways. The journey that sewing has made over the last 150 years is really inspiring, and I know that modern sewers will love reading about it and making projects that celebrate it.